house that stayed dark, asterisk. I don't usually talk about this night. Not because I'm traumatized, though I am, but because nobody believes me. And honestly, I don't blame them. If someone told me a story like this last year, I would have laughed and asked what they were smoking. But this happened. Every detail, every sound, every breath of cold air inside a house that should not have been cold. Every shadow that shouldn't have been moving. I remember everything, and I know the house remembers me. Asterisk, I was working as a delivery driver for a regional electrical supply company in northern Pennsylvania. I hated the job, but it paid the rent and didn't ask me to smile or talk to customers, which was perfect. The only thing I liked about it was the long highway drives. Miles of trees, old barns, small towns that looked frozen in time, and long quiet stretches where you could forget the rest of the world existed. Asterisk. On October 28th, 4 days before Halloween, I was assigned a weird late drop-off. A property owner had ordered a bunch of wiring, outlets, and breaker panels. The order sheet said the building was undergoing urgent renovation. That wasn't the weird part. What was weird was the delivery window. 9:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. No homeowner ever asked for a delivery that late, especially not out in the boonies. But the company didn't care. They handed me the keys to the van and a clipboard, and off I went. Asterisk, the GPS led me into deep back roads, through tiny towns with names like Millbrook, Fisher's Bend, and Red Hollow. After Red Hollow, the road narrowed into a single lane with cracked asphalt and trees pressing in on both sides. Fog drifted across the ground. My headlights cut through it like a knife, but it didn't fade, it swirled. Asterisk, the road ended at a long gravel driveway. A rusted mailbox leaned to one side, the numbers nearly worn, invisible. My GPS chirped, "Destination on the right." I looked around. There was no house, just trees. Then I saw it far back from the road, barely visible through the fog and branches. A tall, old colonial-style house, completely dark except for a faint yellow glow in a single upstairs window. The rest of the house was swallowed in shadow. No porch lights, no motion sensor lights, no other windows lit. Asterisk, just one dim square of yellow, like a lone eye peeking out of a dying skull. Asterisk, I parked near the porch. The entire property felt wrong the moment I stepped out. No sound, no wind, no insects. Just cold, unseasonably cold for late October. I grabbed the clipboard and headed up the porch steps. The boards groaned under my boots. No doorbell, just a big iron knocker shaped like a lion's head. Asterisk, I hesitated, then knocked. Asterisk, the sound echoed long, too long, like the house was hollow. No answer. I knocked again, louder. Still nothing. "Hello?" I called out. "Delivery." Silence. I checked the order again. "Leave inside, front door. Customer requested direct placement." I sighed. Great. Either this guy was sleeping or this was some elaborate prank. I tried the doorknob. It turned. Asterisk. The door creaked open on its own an inch or two. At first I thought the movement was from my push, but no, the hinges moved slow, steady. Like someone inside was pulling it open, only no one was. The hallway beyond was pitch black. Asterisk, I took out my phone, turned on the flashlight, and stepped inside. Asterisk, the smell hit me immediately. Dust, mildew, something metallic. The air felt thick, heavy, like the inside of an attic that hadn't been opened in decades. Asterisk, hello. I called again. Still no answer. I carried the boxes inside and set them down by the wall. I just wanted to get out as fast as possible. Asterisk, that's when I heard it. Footsteps, slow creaking, coming from upstairs. Asterisk, I froze. I wasn't imagining it, someone was definitely walking above me. Asterisk, hello. I've got your delivery, I said. Louder. The footsteps stopped. A cold wave ran through me, like someone had poured ice water down my spine. Asterisk, I should have left right then. I know that now. Asterisk, but the company always complained when drivers didn't confirm handoff, and I needed the money. So I forced myself to the bottom of the staircase. The steps looked ancient wood darkened by age, edges worn smooth. My flashlight barely lit anything past the first dozen steps. Sir, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Just need a signature. Silence. Then thump. It came from the left side of the upstairs hallway. A heavy, deliberate thump, like someone had just set something down, or stepped hard. Asterisk, I swallowed, forced my foot onto the first step. It creaked loudly. Then the second, third. Asterisk, halfway up, the air turned freezing. My breath came out in pale clouds, inside the house, with the heat supposedly on for renovation. Asterisk, when I reached the top of the stairs. The upstairs hallway stretched long in both directions. Every door was closed, except the far one on the left, the door with the faint yellow glow behind it. As I stared at it, the glow flickered, not like a lamp, like a candle struggling to stay lit. Asterisk, I took a step down the hallway, my flashlight shaking. The floorboards creaked under every step. The house groaned softly, like it was shifting on its foundation. Asterisk, I got to the open door and nudged it wider. It was a bedroom, and the only source of light was a candle sitting on the floor in the corner. The flame trembled violently, even though there was no breeze. Asterisk, the room was empty. Asterisk, nothing but moldy wallpaper peeling off in long strips. An old wooden rocking chair, and a mattress that looked older than I was. Then I saw something on the mattress. Claw marks. Asterisk, long ones. Deep ones. Asterisk for straight knife-like. Gashes ripped through the fabric and stuffing, like something with massive hands had dug in and torn. My heart hammered. This was wrong. All of it was wrong. Nothing about this felt like a normal house under renovation. Asterisk, I backed away. The candle went out, snuffed instantly. My flashlight flickered. No, 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 it died. Pitch black swallowed everything. Asterisk, I pulled out my phone. The screen stayed black. Battery full, but the screen wouldn't turn on. Then, footsteps, behind me, slow, deliberate, coming closer. My whole body locked up. I couldn't breathe, couldn't turn, couldn't force my legs to move. Asterisk, I felt cold air brush the back of my neck, the unmistakable chill of someone standing inches behind me. I bolted. Asterisk, I slammed into the hallway wall, half running, half stumbling, toward the staircase. But the house felt different. Now the floor wasn't flat. It sloped slightly, like the whole building was tilting. I grabbed the railing and practically threw myself down the steps. Asterisk. When I reached the bottom, the front door was closed. I hadn't closed it. Asterisk, I sprinted toward it, grabbed the handle, and yanked. It didn't move. Not locked. Just stuck. Asterisk, then the floor above me creaked. Something was moving toward the stairs. Slow, heavy, each step groaning under its weight. Asterisk, I threw my shoulder into the door. It budged an inch. Another creaking step from upstairs. I hit the door again. 2 inches. Another step. Closer. A deep, rasping breath drifted down the staircase. Not human, not animal. Something cold. Hollow. I slammed my shoulder again 3 inches. Come on, I screamed, slamming again and again, shoulder exploding with pain. Asterisk, suddenly it flew open, throwing me onto the porch. I scrambled to my feet and ran to the van so fast I slipped on the gravel. I didn't care. I got inside, locked the doors, and started the engine. Asterisk, as I pulled away, headlights swept across the house. Asterisk, and I saw someone standing in the upstairs window, the same window that had the yellow light earlier. Asterisk, a tall, dark figure, still watching. Asterisk, no face, no features, just a silhouette. I floored the gas and didn't look back again. The next day, I didn't sleep. Not 1 second. I kept replaying the footsteps, the cold breath on my neck, the way the house seemed to shift and lean. I almost called in sick, but I needed to work. So I drank 3 coffees, got in the van, and went straight to the office. I told my supervisor everything. Not the scary parts, just that the house felt unstable, unsafe, possibly abandoned. He frowned and typed the address into the system. Then he looked at me strangely. "We've delivered to that property before," he said. Then he turned the screen toward me. "Delivery location, 112, Parker Lane. Status, property condemned, since 1998. No occupants allowed. Nitrogen monoxide active permits. Condemned." "That can't be right," I said. Someone placed an order. Someone walked around upstairs. My supervisor shook his head. "The last delivery attempt was 4 years ago. Driver refused to enter. Said he saw someone in the window too." I felt my mouth go dry. He continued reading. "Owner died in 1997. House left 2 relatives who never claimed it. It's been empty for decades." I stared at him. "Then, who placed the order?" He shrugged. "No idea. Order was confirmed and paid online, but the account info looked legit. Maybe a contractor messed up the address, but I knew better. Someone had been in that house. Someone who wasn't alive. I tried to let it go, but I couldn't. Every night for weeks. I saw the silhouette in the window when I closed my eyes. Every creak in my apartment sounded like someone walking upstairs. I slept with the lights on. I stopped going out after dark. I finally decided to go back. Not inside, hell no, but just to prove to myself that I'd imagined it. That the house was just a creepy old building, and my mind filled in the rest. I drove out at noon. Sun high in the sky, bright and warm. When I reached the driveway, I felt that same cold air again. The house looked even worse than I remembered. More decayed, more dead. And the upstairs window, the one where I'd seen the silhouette, was shattered. Glass on the ground below it. Old glass. Not new. Not broken recently. No footprints in the snow. Nobody had been inside the house for a long time. But that didn't make sense, because I had heard footsteps. I had felt breath on my neck. I had seen something standing in that window. Unless whatever I saw wasn't confined to the house. As I stood there, a sharp movement caught my eye. Something dark slipped behind a tree near the edge of the driveway. Too fast to identify, but unmistakable. Someone or something was watching me. I backed toward my car slowly, got in, locked the doors. As I turned the ignition. The radio, dead silent before, crackled to life for a split second. And through static, a voice whispered, "You left the door open." I floored the gas. I haven't gone back since. But here's the part that still keeps me awake. Last week, months after everything happened, got a package. No return address. The box was old, yellowed, taped sloppily. Inside was a single object, a rusted iron lion's head door knocker, the same one from the house. And underneath it a note, 8 words, written in shaky handwriting. Next time, don't run. It follows you. I threw the box away, moved apartments, switched jobs, but I still wake up some nights to the sound of footsteps in the hallway outside my bedroom. Slow, heavy, deliberate, coming closer. Every time I grab my phone, the screen stays black. Every time I reach for the lamp, the bulb flickers. Every time I try to breathe normally, I feel cold air on the back of my neck. Like someone is standing right behind me, waiting, just like that night at the house that stayed dark. And sometimes when I can't help myself, I turn around. I don't see anything, but I feel it. The house didn't trap me. It followed me home. The last property on Coldwater Road. I don't scare easily. Not from noises. Not from dark places. Not even from being alone in strange houses. When you work as a property inspector for repossessed homes, your job is basically walking into abandoned places that people left in a hurry, sometimes because of debt, sometimes divorce, sometimes death. But nothing prepared me for what happened on Coldwater Road. The company sent me there on a Tuesday. I remember because I'd packed leftover tacos for lunch, and they leaked salsa all over my seat. I was already annoyed before I even reached the property. The address was 1478 Coldwater Road, somewhere outside Boone, North Carolina. Mountains, long winding roads, houses spread far apart. A peaceful place on paper. My boss said the owners had vacated without explanation. That was all. No forwarding address. No phone. They paid mortgage on time for years. And then boom, disappeared. My job? Take photos? Check inventory? Locate any hazards. Document condition. Get out. Simple. At least that's what I thought. The first thing I noticed when I turned off the main highway was how tall the forest trees were. They squeezed the narrow road like they were trying to reclaim it. My GPS kept glitching, switching between recalculating and no signal. At one point it showed me driving over a lake. I rolled my eyes. Rural areas always did this. No big deal. The house finally appeared around a bend, a two-story wooden home with a wraparound porch, a collapsed swing set, and a long gravel driveway half covered in dead leaves. Nice place, actually. Could have been charming with some repairs. But the weird thing was the front door. It was wide open, not cracked. Wide open, like someone ran out of it and didn't bother closing. I parked slowly. My stomach did a small flip, the kind you get before boarding a roller coaster. I pushed it away. Occupational hazard. People leave doors open all the time. People leave windows open. People leave stoves on. I've seen it all. But the silence, God, the silence was loud. No dogs barking. No wind. No birds. Nothing. I grabbed my clipboard, flashlight, and camera. The porch creaked under my boots. There were muddy footprints on the wood, big ones, like from work boots. They headed out the front door, and then vanished into the dirt like someone was pulled forward, or picked up. Inside. The air was cold and stale. Not musty like an old house cold, like a refrigerator. I rubbed my arms but kept walking. The living room was a mess. Furniture overturned. A lamp shattered. Family photos scattered on the floor. One photo caught my eye. Smiling family of 4 at some lake. Mom, Dad, 2 kids. Normal, happy faces. No sign they'd soon abandon everything. In the corner was a baby crib. Except it wasn't a baby crib, it was a makeshift animal cage. A wooden frame reinforced with chicken wire and tiny latches. Inside it were shredded blankets and deep scratches along the wood panels. I froze. No one uses a crib like that. No one. Before I could process it. Something thumped upstairs. Not a small thump, a heavy one. Like a person dropping from a few inches off the ground. I stiffened. Hello. This is Carter Henley, with Appalachian Property Services. Is anyone inside? No answer. Another thump. I steadied my breathing and scanned the room for any signs of intruders. Nothing seemed new enough to suggest squatters. The staircase groaned as I stepped on the first rung. Dust drifted down from the railing. My flashlight flickered across framed family portraits lining the walls. Each one had been turned backward, like someone didn't want the faces showing. When I reached the top, my foot landed on something. A leather belt. Cleanly cut. Not torn, cut with scissors. as if removed in a hurry. Asterisk the hallway stretched, dark and narrow. Bedroom doors closed. A bathroom at the end. Another thump, this time to my left. I nudged open a door, with the flashlight raised. Kid's room, dinosaur wallpaper. Small wooden bed. Toys scattered everywhere. Asterisk on the wall, drawn in crayon, was a shape I couldn't understand at first. Stick figures but tall. Too tall. Towers over the house tall. The kids had drawn dozens of them. Some standing in the woods, some by the front porch, some inside the house. And all of them had the same feature. No face. Asterisk I felt my chest tighten. Don't be ridiculous, I muttered. Kids draw weird stuff all the time. Asterisk, but I kept the flashlight aimed firmly toward the door, just in case. The closet door was cracked open. Something inside shifted. Asterisk, I stepped back immediately. Asterisk, is someone in there? My voice cracked. I swallowed hard. I'm with the property services. You need to come out. Silence. Then a scraping sound. Slow, long, like nails, dragging across wood. Nope. I backed out and shut the room door firmly. My heart hammered so loudly it felt like another presence. Asterisk, I walked down the hall to the master bedroom. The bed was unmade, sheets in a tangled mess, as if the couple left violently. The closet was open to asterisk inside. I found a blanket on the floor with deep claw marks. Not fingernail scratches, claw marks. 4 at a time. And next to it, a trail of dried mud and broken twigs. Inside a bedroom closet. What the hell? Asterisk, my throat felt dry, but I continued the inspection. I had to check the attic, unfortunately part of the job. Asterisk, the pool downstairs dangled from the ceiling like a broken limb. They weren't down, they were hanging half open, as if someone was in a hurry and didn't latch them back. Asterisk, the thump earlier. Asterisk, could it have been something falling from the attic? Asterisk, I pulled the cord. The wooden ladder unfolded with a loud crack. Asterisk, a cold gust blew down, pushing my hair back. My breath fogged. Too cold. Unnaturally cold. Asterisk, I steadied the flashlight and climbed. Asterisk, the attic was mostly empty, a few old boxers, Christmas decorations, and a dusty rocking chair sitting alone in the corner. And then I realized something. The attic floor had wet footprints, not shoe prints. Bare feet, leading toward the far wall. Asterisk, I followed the prints cautiously, my breath shaking. When the flashlight reached the corner, I nearly dropped it. There was a hole, a literal hole gnawed through the wall, big enough for a person, something to crawl through. The wood around it was splintered and cracked. Asterisk, the footprints went inside. Asterisk, I leaned over and flashed the light through the opening. Pitch black. Then, a face appeared, except it wasn't a face. Not human. Asterisk, a pale, mud-covered shape rushed past the hole, making the attic boards vibrate. Asterisk, I screamed something I haven't done since childhood and stumbled backward. So hard I nearly fell through the opening. Asterisk. The house suddenly came alive with noise. Asterisk, footsteps racing. Downstairs. Doors slamming. Something scraping the walls. Asterisk, a deep, guttural breathing coming from the staircase. Oh God, God. I scrambled down the ladder and landed hard on my knees. I didn't even stand up straight before sprinting toward the exit. Asterisk, when I reached the bottom of the stairs, the entire living room had changed. Asterisk. The family photos on the floor were now arranged in a circle. Asterisk. And the baby crib cage had moved now right in front of the front door, blocking my escape. Asterisk, something stood behind it. Tall, bearskin coated in dirt. Asterisk, back, hunched, arms too long, head tilted like a curious animal. Asterisk, I froze. Asterisk, my flashlight landed on its face, or what should have been a face. Asterisk, there was none. Asterisk, just smooth, Pale skin like dried clay. No eyes, no mouth, just a blank surface. Yet I swear it was looking directly at me. It took one step forward. Asterisk, my legs finally obeyed. I grabbed the nearest object, a decorative wooden chair, and swung it hard. The creature shrieked, high and sharp like metal scraping metal. It stumbled backward, and I leaped over the crib cage. Asterisk, I bolted out the door and sprinted down the driveway, gravel cutting my palms as I caught myself from falling. Behind me, the thing crashed through something wood, maybe the door frame. I didn't look back. I didn't breathe. I just ran. My truck sat like a beacon of salvation. I threw myself inside, slammed the door, jammed the key. The engine refused, clicked, stuttered, died. Asterisk, I punched the steering wheel. Start, damn it. A hand slapped against the back window. Then another. Asterisk, then a face blank, pressed against the glass. I screamed. The engine roared to life, like it sensed my desperation. Gravel spit out from the tires as I floored it, leaving a cloud of dust behind me. The hand slipped off the glass. The creature shrank in the mirror, but it didn't chase. It just stood there, asterisk, watching. As if letting me go was part of the plan, I didn't stop driving for over an hour. When I finally reached Boone, I parked at a Walmart and sat trembling for 30 minutes. Asterisk, I tried calling my boss. No answer. Asterisk, tried calling the police. Stopped myself. No one would believe me. Asterisk, instead, I opened my camera roll to review the photos. Maybe I'd captured something, footprints, scratches, something to prove I wasn't insane. My blood froze. The last photo on my camera was one I didn't take. It showed the attic, taken from inside the hole. From inside the darkness, a blurry shape standing behind me, taller than the ceiling should allow, its long fingers reaching toward my back. And one detail I hadn't noticed in the moment. In the photo, my head was turned slightly, like I sensed it. But I swear I hadn't. Asterisk, I deleted the picture instantly, but the image stayed burned in my mind. Asterisk, for weeks, I locked every door, every window, slept with lights on, barely ate. I told myself it was trauma, hallucination, exhaustion, anything but real. Asterisk, then one night, around 3 a.m., I heard something, a creak, a soft, dragging sound across the living room floor. Asterisk, I grabbed my baseball bat and crept out. Asterisk, my front door was wide open. A circle of family photos lay on the floor, but they weren't mine. They were the photos from Coldwater Road, and in the center of the circle was a single object. A wooden latch from the crib cage, covered in fresh dirt. I backed away slowly. Then I saw footprints. Asterisk, bare, wet footprints, leading from the door, into my hallway. Asterisk, toward my bedroom. My blood turned cold. I tried calling 911, but the call never connected. Just static. I heard breathing in the hallway. Not human breathing. Slow, rasping, hungry. I ran outside and didn't come back until sunrise. Asterisk, 2 days later. I quit my job, moved states, changed my number. Asterisk, but last night, almost a year later, woke up to something tapping my window. I didn't want to look, but curiosity is a curse. Asterisk, I pulled back the curtain. There was nothing human outside, just a tall, pale shape standing perfectly still. Asterisk, its hand pressed against the glass. Asterisk, its head tilted, as if studying me. Asterisk, I blinked and it disappeared. Not ran, not faded. Asterisk, just disappeared. Asterisk, but this morning, outside on my porch, I found footprints again, and a photo. One I definitely didn't take. Asterisk, it's me sleeping, but something is standing next to my bed. Something tall, something with no face, something looking down at me, and on the Back of the photo, written in mud, you left the house. But the house didn't leave you.